So what is this?
This says you can't erase us, Nancy. Well, then you shouldn't try to erase women. I have to say, for any man that wants to be in a woman's restroom, bathroom, dressing room, locker room, absolutely not.
Nancy Mace, an American politician, just dropped some serious truth bombs on woke culture a few days ago, and the backlash was absolutely wild. So what exactly did she say to make the woke crowd so mad, and how did people respond to that? Nancy Mace isn't afraid to speak her mind, and her latest move proves it. As a survivor of rape and sexual abuse, she's been vocal about protecting women's rights in our society.
Well, clearly Hakeem Jeffries and the left didn't learn any lessons from the election 2 weeks ago. And it's the height of gaslighting to have this guy, a man, Hakeem Jeffries, try to bully me into submission. Look, I am a rape survivor. I'm a survivor of sexual violence and abuse. And I know how vulnerable women and girls are in private spaces. And the question at the end of the day is, do women have rights or not?
Just a few days ago, Nancy introduced a set of rules that would stop transgender females from using female bathrooms or locker rooms. This decision wasn't made lightly.
I'm a rape survivor, and I know how vulnerable women are in personal and private spaces. And I'm going to make sure that I protect all women and girls. And there are a lot of women out there, millions of women across the country who agree with me. But they're afraid to come forward because of the way that the radical left acts, the threats that we've been receiving hundreds a day. It's unsafe. I've been accosted several times over the last several days by folks in public. The left is totally off the rails on this just because women don't want to be forced to undress in front of men.
Right.
After surviving sexual abuse, Nancy has spoken openly about how her experiences shaped her views and deepened her commitment to protecting the rights and safety of women and girls.
And the speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I'll be ready with a motion, a privileged motion to force a vote on this. This is not okay. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And I'm not going to allow any man in any female private spaces.
Now, Speaker,
This is a really sensitive topic, and it's one that brings up a lot of tough questions. People are wondering where to draw the line, how to balance everyone's rights, and what this means for the culture. But Nancy handled all these challenges and answered them clearly and perfectly.
This is a real thing. This isn't manufactured. This person wants to come in and use women's spaces. If I'm in as a woman, I'm changing clothes in the locker room because I use the gym when I'm up here in D.C., the women's gym, and a man shows up and his genitalia, his penis is in the room. No. Like, I'm not, it's not okay.
Boy, I think that's the first time that's happened on the show, but okay.
I mean, she can go to Planet Fitness where it's okay for a middle-aged man to be, you know, in his boxers and have an underage girl in a towel, fearful in the corner. Not up here. I can't even, the idea of that is a trigger for me. I have PTSD from the abuse that I've suffered.
The reaction from the woke crowd was quick and intense, freaking out at over what they saw as an attack on transgender rights. The hate was nonstop, with many accusing her of being unfair and irresponsible.
What Nancy Mace and what Speaker Johnson are doing are endangering all women and girls. Because if you ask them, what is your plan on how to enforce this? They won't come up with an answer. And what it inevitably results in are women and girls who are primed for assault because people are going to want to check their private parts in suspecting who is trans and who is cis and who's doing what. And so the idea that Nancy Mace wants little girls and women to drop trow in front of who? An investigator? Who would that be? In order, because she wants to suspect and point fingers at who she thinks is trans, is disgusting. It is disgusting.
This woman called the situation disgusting. But let's see how Nancy responded to that.
No, I can't. First of all, she's not telling the truth. No one has ever said that women should drop trowel. That's really disgusting. And to say that about me, a survivor of rape and sexual abuse, it's really the height of hypocrisy. And it just goes to show that their lie, they don't want to protect women. They never have wanted to protect women, and their policies will only endanger more women and girls. And that's what I've been saying for years now, that Republicans and conservatives, we are the party of women. We will fight to protect women. We'll do a really good job of it when we're in charge.
And it didn't stop there. Some people even went as far as to threaten her life over what might have been seen as a small issue in the past. But with how crazy things are now, it's clear this is far from a small issue anymore.
So the height of hypocrisy, the height of gaslighting, they're threatening to kill me now because I, as a woman, am standing up to protect other women from men being in our private spaces, our restrooms, bathrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, you name it. And so now they're threatening to kill me over this. I'm being bullied online. But what they forget is that, Laura, I'm the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. I will not be bullied into silence. I will not back down. And in fact, I'm going to double down on this. And I'm going to file even more legislation to protect women beyond the Capitol, across every state in the nation.
Even with all the hate and threats, Nancy isn't backing down. If anything, she's doubling down on her stance. She's made it clear that she's not stopping here. She's planning to take the fight beyond the U.S. and scale it to the entire world.
Good luck. I was the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. And if we haven't met yet, I want all the bullies online to know you will not bully me into submission. I can't be threatened. You can't threaten my life enough. That means I'm just going to double and triple, quadruple down on this issue because I'm a girl mom.
However, as much hate as Nancy received, she also gained a strong group of supporters, especially those who feel like women's rights are being overlooked, have rallied behind her.
Absolutely not. Nancy Mace is doing what she's always been doing. She is fighting for feminist and women's rights. I think that's one of the great things that come out of this election season, Dan, is the fact that women have been now seen as more than just a single issue type of gender and what we fight for. And that is what Nancy Mace is doing. And I think what is great about this.
Nancy has also brought up several real-life cases to show how her rules are actually helping protect women's rights. One powerful example is a 16-year-old female athlete who spoke out at an RUSD board meeting. She explained how having a male on her team was unfair and ridiculous.
This is appalling. I'm a student at Martin Luther King High School and I run on the cross-country team. So I'm constantly affected by these actions that have taken place this season. And I have been around the females and just my team in general who have felt almost silenced to speak out about it because the whole LGBTQ is shoved down our throats, it is put in our face, and we live in a society where it is almost impossible to speak out on it without facing the repercussions of it. And I went myself to have a discussion with the head of the athletic director when nobody really felt comfortable enough to speak out, and I don't think it's fair.
It seemed like the school was treating the male player on the girls' team as if he was the only person who mattered. On top of that, spots on the team that should have gone to female athletes were being taken away just so a transgender male could play.
And then to see the athletic director turn around and tell my teammates that their shirts that say Save Girls Sports be compared to a swastika, that is not okay. These girls feel silenced, they felt silenced, and when they finally spoke out and did something to go against it and speak out, not directed towards a single person at all, they were completely stabbed in the back by the person that we were told would support us and be able to help us through this. They said that it was a hate crime.
This is exactly why Nancy is so vocal about women's rights. She sees how they're being taken away, how women and girls are being silenced, and how their spaces and opportunities are being ignored. And when they do speak, they're met with hate and backlash from the woke crowd.
And it is not okay that I have to be in a position where I'm going to practice and having to see a male in booty shorts and having to see that around me. As a 16-year-old girl, I don't find that as a safe environment. I don't at all. And going into a locker room and seeing males in there, I don't find that safe. I don't find going to the bathroom safe when there's guys in there. It's not okay. I'm a 16-year-old girl. There's girls around me where we do not feel safe having boys in our environment.
While all of this is happening, there are still people who argue that men have the right to be in women's private spaces. They claim it's about inclusivity, but to many, it feels like a complete disregard for women's comfort, safety, and rights. The fact that this is even a debate just shows how far and how bad our society has gotten.
And it isn't okay. It isn't okay to have them on our team. It isn't okay when it's the genetics.
Women aren't the only ones speaking out and criticizing the inclusion of trans athletes in women's sports. Even Donald Trump has weighed in on the issue. He's been vocal about how unfair it is for biological males to compete against women, calling it a threat to the integrity of women's sports.
And by the way, we should not allow men to play in women's sports.
Trump is speaking facts, and that's exactly why he faced so much drama and backlash after his comments. Many people agreed with him, saying he was standing up for fairness in women's sports. But others were quick to label him as hateful and out of touch, just like they did with Nancy Mace.
See, it just shows you what these political geniuses, I have all these consultants, all these great... Sir, don't say that. It's very controversial. That's not written down anywhere. I just said this might be a good time.
There's one thing that Trump, Nancy, and others who've spoken out against the woke crowd have in common. They're all confident, unafraid, and don't let other people's opinions control them. They have strong personalities and stand solid in what they believe. Just see the way Nancy forces her presence.
Yes or no?
I will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Nancy has made it clear that she's not backing down, no matter how intense the hate or backlash gets. She's committed to exposing the lies of woke culture and standing up for women's rights, even when it feels like the world is against her.
This is a biological man trying to force himself into women's spaces, and I'm not going to tolerate it. You have the radical left that are trying to erase women and erase women's rights. I'm the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. If some guy in a skirt came by and said, no, that's my achievement, I'm going to be there and standing in the way and saying, hell no. I'm not going to allow men to erase women or women's rights. And I'm going to be standing up here. I will file this again next congressional session. Sarah McBride doesn't get a say. This is about women. This is about girls. This is about our rights and being protected in our private spaces.
While others might stress under the pressure, she uses the hate as fuel to keep going. The more they try to silence her, the louder she becomes. But people like Nancy don't let fear stop them. They double down and push forward even stronger.
This is ridiculous. It is the day after Trans Day of Visibility. We have had dozens of trans people die this year because of the hate and lies.
Nancy is proving that no matter how loud the opposition gets, standing up for what you believe in is always worth it. For her, the hate isn't a roadblock. It's proof that she's making an impact, and she's not stopping until real change is made. So do you think Nancy Mace is doing the right thing, saving the rights of women around the world? Or is she completely wrong and men should have the right to be in women's private spaces? If you like this video, I'm sure you'll like my other video on the screen exposing Hollywood's darkest side.